President Biden held a drive-in rally yesterday in Duluth, Georgia. Joining us now, the chairman of the Democratic National Committee, Jamie Harrison, who was with the president yesterday. Mr. Chairman, it's good to see you this morning. So let's get your snapshot of these first 100 days from President Biden, what he's done, what he's proposing to do, and the ambitious agenda that he's laid out.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Willie. Listen, it is so refreshing to be able to go to bed at night and wake up in the morning and not have to look at your phone and worry that the president of the United States is going to say something or do something to endanger the American people. And for the first time in 4 years, many of us across this country are breathing a sigh of relief because we have a president in the White House who cares about the American people, who's working on behalf of the American people, and his focus is doing the very best that he can for the great people of this nation. These 100 days have been successful, and that is almost an understatement. I mean, think about where we were on Inauguration Day. I remember hearing an interview with Dr. Fauci, who said that we wouldn't be until the fall or the winter or even the spring of 2022 where we are right now. And that is because of the leadership we've had at the White House. Joe Biden got into that White House and he rolled up his sleeves and he focused on addressing the COVID crisis. He made sure that we passed the American Rescue Plan, where we got shots in arms and money in pockets, people in their jobs and kids back into school. And so I'm extremely proud to be working with this president of the United States because his focus has been on the American people.
Jamie, Caddy K is here with a question for you. Caddy?
Jamie, part of the reason that Republicans painted Joe Biden as a progressive is because of all the big things he's doing. But actually, when you look at what he's promising, it's what he said he was going to do in the campaign. It's just that he looked moderate in the campaign because there were so many people running against him who were further to the left, who were more progressive than he is. Where are those voices now, and how does the party leadership satisfy the more progressive wing of the party, the people that Joe Biden was running against in the primaries, who may look at what he's doing and saying, you know what, it's not enough, particularly on issues of voting rights and justice, if he can't get it through without a filibuster change?
Well, you know, we are, and the president talked about voting rights and those issues. And I can tell you on a personal level, that is something that is so personal to me. And, you know, I've talked with the White House about the need and the necessity to really double down and focus on this. And I can tell you, Joe Biden's passionate about it. He understands what is at stake, and he understands that you have a whole swaths of communities who understand what voter suppression looks like. You know, people like my grandma, who here growing up in South Carolina, she didn't always get the opportunity to vote. She wasn't always considered a whole person. But now she has that opportunity, and we're not going back. And so this White House is committed, just like our Democrats in the House and the Senate, to do something that should not be a partisan issue. Every American in this country that is eligible to vote should have the opportunity to do so. And the Republicans, what they're doing right now is downright shameful. And the Democratic Party, under the leadership of Joe Biden, is going to do all that we can to make sure that the most sacred right we have as American citizens is protected and that everybody can do it, utilize their right unencumbered.
Jamie, Heather McGhee has a question for you. Heather?
Chairman Harrison, the Democratic Party's agenda and the Biden-Harris agenda is really, from all vantage points, pretty popular with the American public, well over 50% for some of the core issues, from $15 to the PRO Act, the act that would make it easier for workers who want to join a union to organize and be recognized on the job. And yet there's something standing in the way of us moving many of those issues beyond the budget reconciliation. And so for those of us who feel that this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to refill the pool of public goods for everyone, right, to really address inequality, what do you say to some in your caucus or maybe in your donor base who want to preserve the Jim Crow era relic of the filibuster exactly as it is and leave the minority veto in place so that we can't do what the majority of the American people seem to want?
Well, Heather, thank you for that question. You know, it's just important that, you know, and I tell this to Democrats all the time. if we make promises, let's keep our promises. And I think that's what you see with Joe Biden, that he's made promises on the campaign trail, and we're going to do everything that we can to keep it. You know, as it relates to the issue of the filibuster, at the very least, if folks want to filibuster the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, let them stand up in the well of the floor, put on some Depends, let their feet bleed or whatever, and let the American people see that they are filibustering. They are touching base with Strom Thurmond, and they're going to stand there and filibuster Voting Rights Act. Let them filibuster and stand on the floor and go against the Equality Act. Why, they love to talk about the founders. Thomas Jefferson in the Declaration of Independence, he said all men, I say all people are created equal. If that is the case, why can't we pass a bill that is called the Equality Act, where we codify to make sure that all people are treated that way? So if Lindsey Graham or anybody wants to go and filibuster that, stand up in the well and let the American people see you for who you are. And at the very least, I believe that we need to do that. And so I believe, Heather, that these issues are going to be brought up. Senator Schumer has a lot of skills, and he knows how the Senate is operate, and he knows his caucus. And so I'm going to leave it to him to figure out how we get to that point. But I know we have to get there.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news, or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.